Hey guys, Chief Fruity here, and this is the behind the scenes of Dark Knights Part 3, The Journey. And in this video, I'm just going to go over all the sections of this song that are unique to Part 3. Everything else was covered in Part 1 and Part 2, and if you have not seen those videos, you can go to the description below, click those links, and it'll take you to those videos. So as you can tell, this is obviously not the song. I just have this little bit here. And the reason why is because when the whole song is laid out, it's actually way too laggy and it freezes with the recording program playing. So since I am running a recording program, I had to delete everything else. As you can tell, there's a lot of audio tracks here. There's a total of 151 audio tracks. I deleted most of them here except for these. And the reason why there's so many is just envelopes controlling volume and limiters and EQs and choruses and effects, because the mix changes so much throughout this entire song. Like I was saying in the Dark Knights trilogy video, the mix changed a lot for this song, and that's why there's all these envelopes here. Now, not all of them are necessary. Like, for example, these was something I was experimenting with, and I ended up just keeping it on because I wanted that off, so I just kept it 100% so it wouldn't just shut down somewhere in the song. So that's what most of these envelopes are for. That's why there got to be 151 audio tracks, but I probably could have compressed everything to 50 audio tracks, but I just kept it like this just so nothing would be messed up. Then also there's a ton of patterns in here. In this whole song that I made, and that is also why it's laggy, and the mixer is 81 tracks because it's really laggy. So that is why I simplified it to just this. And again, not all of this is necessary. I just kind of overexpanded stuff too much for mixing it, and that kind of made it a little bit too complicated. But I can get more into that later. So for now, I'm going to start with going over this bass. And now it might get laggy when I play this, because this bass lags a lot, but hopefully you'll be able to hear it. So there is a reverb on the master. Let's take that off. So yeah, that is really laggy, but as you can hear from the song, it sounds a lot more crisp, and that's when it renders, it sounds a lot better. So I'll show you how I made this bass. Let's take it down an octave. And this bass is a harmor. So what I'm doing inside of this harmor is it's just a part A, and it has some vibrato depth into it, 9 voices of unison on the HZ, saw wave, mode X is attached to a filter, and in part B there is a harmonizer, but it's not using part B at all. And looks like that's all I'm doing inside of the harmor. So it's really simple, as it's just a unison filled wave with some vibrato attached to a filter. So that's all I'm doing in the harmor, and then it goes through this EQ to really pop out the high frequencies, because the high frequencies are really important in the sound. Even though you still want some of those bass tones for most of these gritty, and to make basses really punch and have those really nice harmonics, you have to boost the highs and mids a lot. Like when I was a long time ago and I was starting mixing, I would assume for basses that you have to crank the lows, but no, that's actually really bad. It fills everything up and makes stuff really gross sounding. And then it goes to this Vocodex, and as you can see, pretty simple. Just messed with the SG a little bit and the vocal type. That's really it for this Vocodex. And it goes to this one, which basically looks the exact same, except the band gain multiplier is up in positive polarity to 100%. And again, excuse the lag. And then this is the final Vocodex. This time it has no compression, and the band width is over. The band gain multiplier is a negative polarity this time, and the vocal type is always down, because when you change it up, it sounds like that. So you have to turn it down to boost the lower frequencies, which actually ends up being mids, which is really what you want. And then it goes through all of that back to FL. And it's on track 58, where I put on this EQ, and then I put on a limiter for sidechaining. I put on a compressor to keep it compressed. I put on another Vocodex, and this Vocodex is doing this. This time it's in the positive polarity for the Vocodex to boost the high frequencies after it gets set with the mid frequencies in here. And then it goes through another EQ, and it gets a little bit of reverb on it, and then I put it through a limiter. And the reason why it's going through a limiter, and this limiter is actually limiting. This isn't just for sidechain, because you can see the compressor is off. The limiter, what this does, is you see how it cuts off a lot of signal there. Because the thing is see when I do this, you see how there's all these like differences in volume up here? I wanted to get rid of that, and I wanted this to be even volume. So I put a limiter on it just to even it all out. And then after the limiter, I do sidechaining. And the reason why I do the sidechaining after the limiter is so the sidechains an even signal rather than something that's just all crazy. And it took me a while to figure that out when mixing. And it actually sounded really bad when there was not a limiter on it, which actually is just kind of weird to me, because normally when you put a limiter on something, it sounds worse, but in this case it sounded a lot better because this bass is really uneven levels. And this compressor helped a lot too. As you can see, my threshold's pretty low and my ratio is really high. It's like 12:4, which is really high. No, that's 12.4 to 1. So yeah, it's a really high ratio. So it's almost like a limiter in itself right here. But that goes through this limiter to really even things out. And it goes through this EQ here. And I have this going through this channel for some reason. Oh yeah, because it's sidechained to this bass. Because it plays in the second drop. So that's this red bass. And then here, this is the harmonizers automation, and this is the bandwidth of a Vocodex. I'm actually end up not using the filters at all that I set up in the original Harmor right here, because I didn't need to, so I didn't use it, because it sounded worse, I thought. Now I'm going to go into this bass, which is used in part 2, but I didn't go over this bass in part 2, but I just made a recording of this for part 2. So this guy is a FM bass. So I basically made this off of one of Seamless's tutorials, and pretty much it looks like it's really complicated, but it's actually not too bad. So you see operator 1, it's just a sine wave, everything's default, mode X for the filter, which is this guy. And operator 2, it is a different wave. That's like, it's a tilted saw wave, and it is doing a key mod. So that means the dampness changes as you, it decreases in lower notes and increases for higher notes. Operator 3 is just a sine wave with a mode X. So so the mode X is changing operator 3. It is not changing operator 2 because operator 2 is not assigned to the filter. And operator 4 is running a triangle wave. Saw wave would be that. That's a triangle wave. And it's doing, let's see, damp key mod and the mode Y. So what mode Y is this is running through Y, which is what changes the phase. So it changes the harmonics. Operator 4, 5. It's a cross between triangle and saw here. Mode Y. And then 6 is just doing damp key mod. Filters aren't being used. and then this is just how the operators go into each other. So basically, like for example, like 1 is going through 2, 1 is going through 4, 3 is going through 2, and etc. And then it goes, these go to outputs. Like 6 goes directly to the output, 3 goes to the output in the negative polarity, and then 1 goes to the output in positive polarity. And I put this on track 49, so I'm going to disable all the effects and show you how it sounds. So that sounds pretty good just for a straight citrus. And then when I add on this Vocodex, it makes it sound a lot whiter with boosting the band values and the multiplier and wetness and SG. And I put it through a Maximus for more compression. As you can see, that's slicing a lot of stuff up. A lot of compression right there. Basically limiting. And a fast distortion to give it some distortion. Another wave shaper for more distortion. An limiter for sidechains. A reverb. Just a slight bit of reverb just to kind of open it up a little bit. Another limiter for sidechains. And another reverb. Then this is the EQ I have. Boosting some mids and lows here. And then this is mode Y, and this is mode X. And that's what it's doing there. And then this, let's see, did I go over this? This is the ARP. No, I would have not have gone over this because I made this preset for part 3. So it's a pretty simple ARP sound. Let me turn it up more so you can actually hear it. So it's a saw wave. 2 is for the frequency. So I boosted the frequency up. I turned it up in here. I took down the filter. So it's not a saw. So it's like this. And I put on 3 voices of unison. Did I do anything in here? Volume. Yeah, I put it through a volume envelope. And I had it so it fades out, so it kind of resonates a little bit even after you press the note. And what did I do in part B? Part B, I increased it by an octave. And it has filter to mode X. So you can do this. Though I didn't end up using this at all in the song, but I had the option to. So yeah, it's pretty simple. And I did the filter again for part B. I'm gonna turn it down again because that was cranked. Now to 56, I put it through this EQ. I put it through a stereo enhancer to boost the volume. Put it through a reverb, which is basically not doing anything. I probably just decided I didn't want the reverb and just turn the wetness down instead of taking the whole plugin out. I'm boosting this low frequency because it probably hit this note or this note, and I wanted to boost that little bit there for that specific note. And it goes to this EQ, which is hardly doing anything. This is this EQ is probably actually being automated for something, but I would have taken that out when I deleted all the clips. But this EQ is probably for automation, and same with this one, it's probably for automation. And then sidechains. I took out lows here because I didn't want lows to get it all gross. And as you can see, it's actually going through 2 channels. This channel is panned to the left, and this one's panned to the right. And this channel is going through this channel. So this is basically like a delay return for the reverb, where it's going through a delay bank here, a lot of reverb, and some sidechains. So why I did this is so on the left you get like the original sound, and on the right you get the reverb delayed sound. So if I turn up the right a lot more, with both of them turned up, you can hear it a lot better. So as you can hear, it's delaying only in the right channel. Well, partially, because it's not like panned all the way. That's only in the right channel, but it has a lot louder in the right channel. turn these back down. And the reason why I wanted to do that is kind of just more of like an ambience and atmospheric vibe, to kind of like open up the whole song a bit more. I already went over the leads. See, I'll go over the drums. That's pretty much all that's unique to part 3. Let's put that through a loop. So I still think I made that snare drum pretty well. So first off, as you can see, there's a lot of kicks I went through here. All these are kicks, and this is the one I ended up using. So like for example, this one sounds like that. This one sounds like this, and this one sounds like this. And I ended up using this one because I like this one the most. And I put this in track 2. Where it's going through a limiter for side chains, and as you can see, let's play the drum loop. The snare is sidechained to the kick, so the kick decreases in volume every time the snare plays, just to kind of make room on the master. And then to make up for that, since everything's sidechained to the kick, I sidechained the snare to everything, just to have the same amount of compression over all the music, but just the snare kind of prevails over the kick a little bit more. And I have it through this EQ, and then this EQ, and then a stereo enhancer, and a Maximus, and the Maximus is, see, looks like it's just the, oh dang it, whoops. Okay, I replaced the Maximus with a reverb, but that Maximus is really just doing compression. It looked like it was just default, like this. And then I'm at this EQ, which is for automation, and this EQ for another automation, and this EQ to boost a little bit more. So that's the kick. Not as complicated there. Now with the snare, this one. No, this one. Oh yes, this one. Doesn't sound right there. There's no pitch mod. What is it? What note's playing at? No, it does not sound the same. Probably because it's missing the kick at the same time when I'm playing it. But it's going through this reverb. And basically this is just to give it the resonance of the highs. Low cuts it isn't on very much because otherwise it sounds like that. It was around 75, and I wanted the highs to really resonate out. This is the EQ it's going through. So pretty much you want to boost a little low section here to give the snare its like definition, and then boost some highs. I don't want to go too crazy, because then it just turns into noise. And I wanted to take out all these lows, because the kick has a big presence in this area, so I wanted to remove those lows for the kick. And then some Edison. Looks like I recorded it or something. And then this is for a side chain. Oh, just compression. Yeah, so it's just compressing a little bit of the snare. And then I'm boosting the mids and highs here and cutting a little bit of lows. And then the hats. The hats is just a mixture of closed and open hats and a ride. Pretty simple. Okay. So that's the drums there. Now I will go into mastering. So first thing I did for the master is play the drums, is I have a pretty heavy compressor on, and basically when all the music was playing, it was compressing every drum hit to this extent, and the music was kind of just right here. So it was just the drums were getting compressed and the music was not. That's basically what I was going for with this first compression. Was even the drums out with the music, but still have the power of loud drums. And I put it through this Maximus, which is compressing it. It's a multi-band compressor. The master is off. And then it's compressing the highs, mids, and lows to these extents. And through another multi-band compressor with the high, mids, and lows to these extents. And then another compressor here just to kind of even stuff out again. And then I use this EQ for mapping to see like what frequencies are being played. And then I boosted the highs a little bit here. So pretty simple there. So that's pretty much it for Dark Nights Part 3, the journey behind the scenes. I am bummed that I wasn't able to get to like the whole song, but like I said, it was really laggy, so I couldn't do that. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe because I post weekly videos here. Next week, I'll probably show you a sneak peek of the new song I'm working on with Six Sided. So I'm excited for that. July 16th, I'm releasing a new song on this channel. So see you guys then. Bye.